So this is version 1 of the floating garden, floating wetland. It's made pretty simply. No duct tape, no zip ties, no pull needles, no chintzy stuff that I feel is gonna dilapidate and end up in your pond. I made a sewer and drain 4-inch pipe. I just made a rectangle, and the sewer and drain is a lightweight stuff. It's lighter, so I thought I'd get more buoyancy. Anyway, I made the rectangle, then I took 1x6s and just made a square box to fit inside. It doesn't even have to fit tight. It could be 2 inches smaller, it doesn't matter. And on that box I nailed or stapled chicken wire to the bottom of it. I think in this case I used boards. I sandwiched a chicken wire between the 1x6 and a 1x2, so it's a good connection there. And then from there you can add 2 or 3 layers of burlap. You can add that core mats, C-O-I-R mats, which gives you a little bit more thickness, or do whatever. I mean, you can nail lattice in there and attach pots to it if you want, like a true water plant. But the brilliance in this is the 1x4s you see. So they're nailed down to the 1x6 box and they straddle over the pipe, and I have the same thing underneath. And that's why I had to use a 1x6 instead of a 1x4 for the box. I had to make sure the boards were taller than the 4-inch pipe. And looks like the strawberries are not doing good. On the far side is society garlic, and on this side is strawberries. They've probably not gotten any dryness, and maybe I need to redesign this where if I'm gonna use it as a garden, we got to be a little bit higher off the water line. So maybe like use a 1x8 or 1x10 and put the boards where the bed is actually a little bit further out of the water, 4 or 6 inches, so the top can actually get some oxygen to it. But I think the society garlic can take the water. Strawberries will have to do a redesign. And what I'm looking at doing here is, because I have cows, I'm going to have a hard time getting vegetation around my pond. Trees, stuff like that. They're just going to stomp it out. And if I could do that, I wouldn't worry about a wetland like this. But I wanted roots in the water, to counter the cow manure and stuff like that washes in here, get the nitrates out of the pond. One of the ones I'm going to do is vetiver. I mean, vetiver will send down roots like 12 feet, a big old mass of roots, and it'll suck a lot of that out of the water. So that's what my intention is here. And these are just experiments to see how I can do it. Anyway, the way I'm holding it in is I've got it staked at 2 spots. I got this fiberglass electric line, and I've got a rope with a loop in it. So I just loop it over that stake. We'll go to the other side. I think you can see the stake down there, and you can see where there's moss on the rope and stuff. But that's how it's staked off. So if I want to access it, I just unloop one side and pull it to the shore, and I can access it. Anyway, that's version 1. Let's go look at version 2, which is a kind of a modern take on it that I really like. It looks so much better. So this is version 2. I still use PVC pipe, but it gives options for other recyclable materials for the buoyancy. At the end of this video, I'm gonna show clips of what I've got when I was making these things, and hopefully I took some pictures of this one. But basically, if you were to make this and you just made 4 planting boxes, the type that you would screw outside underneath your window, and screw those 4 together so that there's a hole in the center, that's basically what this is. Now I did the same thing as I did on the other one. If you take this and flip it over where you got the cavity, you can fill it with whatever's buoyant. In this case I used 4-inch PVC pipe again, but the volume there allowed for a lot more buoyancy than the 4-inch pipe. So this is an opportunity to take water bottles, soda bottles that have caps on them, just fill the cavity up, and do the same thing I did on the other one. Run chicken wire across it, staple it down. If you want it to be super secure, go back with a 1x2 around the edge and screw that in so it's sandwiched. But that chicken wire will hold all the water bottles into the cavity. And same thing, you can put core, layers of burlap. You could, like I said, put lattice and put pots in it, just like I talked about the other one. It gives you options for the bottom, for the actual planting area. I did something unusual on this one. I was going to let it be a native floating wetland. I just went around the pond collecting cow manure, and I filled it up with the cow manure. I know that's the opposite of what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get those nutrients out of the pond, but this is short-term temporary, and the pond's been overflowing, so nutrients are getting washed out. But I didn't plant anything in it, and I was going to see whatever seeds or grass came up with the manure, if it would just grow and how it would do. So this is probably about a month old now, and you can see that there's Bermuda grass on it. But as you can see, it's a very modern look, and like I said, I think if you use water bottles, it would be sitting out of the water a little bit higher. And there's no rules or regulations. I mean, these are 1x6s, but you can go to 1x8 also if you want more buoyancy. Anyway, so now let's go down to my lower pond where I actually bought a floating wetland, and I just want to kind of talk about what I call an environmental disaster. I think we can see it firsthand at the other pond. But this is the first place I put a wetland, and there it is right there, and it's just a mess. When I was out here before the rains came, there was in fact it's down here. Let's go walk. Anyway, there's an example of it. It just disintegrated off. But the whole thing was designed around plastic cups. And there was probably 50 plastic cups in there. I think you can see all the holes, and all the plastic cups are gone. So the plastic cups lock into it. And then you put your plant in there, true water plants. And I planted a bunch of vetiver. And I don't know what dislodged it. They were gone before they really rooted in and took hold. But my guess of, a 30-mile-an-hour wind onto the plant ripped the cup out of it, or the current flow. I mean, if you saw probably 1 or 2 videos ago, my water flow after a rain, that current could have dislodged them out of there. Who knows? But it didn't hold up. But the disappointing part is the disintegration. Here's an example of it. I mean, it's all just coming apart, which is not good. So that's ended up in your pond system, and that's why I started on this project, to try to avoid it. Now, I'm not putting this product down. I think if you were to get it established and get vegetation on it, the vegetation is going to be the UV protection to keep it from disintegrating. I never got to that point, but I just lost the plants. And the plastic pots had a tab above and below where it kind of locked into them. Like I said, Anyway, so this started on my quest, and when I looked on YouTube and started seeing pull noodles, which I know is going to disintegrate, just miscellaneous stuff that I'm like, yeah, I don't want to do that. That started me on my quest to just try to design another one that'll work. Is mine going to work? I have no idea, but I will tell you one thing: if it fails, I will tell you about it and make an apology to everybody. But we'll just have to see what happens over time. And like I said, if I could get some trees and vegetation and stuff around the trees, I wouldn't mess with it. And as far as the pond above, the pond has a life to it. It's not it's going to go up and down 3 feet in the seasons, from full to heat of summer, and that 3 feet difference is a big factor on lily pads, because lily pads is the easiest thing to put in the water, and I've had success with it at Lake Timmy and over at the sediment pond before I had to dig it out. I mean, the sediment pond was probably 80% lily pad, so that would have been doing the job I'm trying to do. but because of water level variation, I mean, I just felt like it wasn't going to work in the main pond. We're going to go look at this other brush pond I hadn't shown you in a while before we sign off. Oh, let's see the one log dam. It's still flowing. When I videoed it, water was probably 2 or 3 inches above that log, and you could barely see the V shape coming out of here. But this is a nice trickle effect we get. That's pretty cool. And then just past it is my brush dam that's really been taken over with vegetation. Same thing, cedar branches, and I actually threw some scrap lumber that wasn't treated, or pallet wood that's poisoned or anything like that. But what I did to keep it from moving, I set these 4 cedar posts in and put the brush against it, and you can see a lot of what I was talking about on a previous video. Look at all the leaves it's capturing. All that stuff is staying out of my pond downstream from it. Anyway, it's pretty cool. Vegetation is not desirable. The type is thorny, but that's fine, we'll take it. I mean, if this could, I've done these before, I dismantled it, but using cedar branches, not the trunks, but the branches, and putting them across, over time with this leaf infiltration, it becomes this beautiful spongy walkway across the ravine that you can walk across. Just real spongy, holding water is pretty cool. I was even able to drive a tractor across it. Anyway, the heat and humidity is getting to me. I'm going to sign off. Y'all have a great day.